Dealing with an emergency is never easy. Neither is evacuating a worksite or facility during one. Very few of us can think clearly or act logically in a crisis, and our urge to get out can easily turn into panic. The result can often be a stampede that causes injuries and property damage. But it doesn't have to be that way, because you can help to ensure that an evacuation is calm and orderly. Getting everyone away from a construction site or out of a building safely in an emergency takes teamwork. That means everyone needs to know who does what during an evacuation. The best place to start is by forming an evacuation team, a group of employees who will determine the best and safest way to evacuate your facility and oversee any evacuations that actually take place. Heading up the team are evacuation wardens, employees who have volunteered to take responsibility for getting people to safety when an evacuation is necessary. They check offices, bathrooms, and other spaces to make sure that everyone has left, and help people with special needs to evacuate safely as well. This makes the evacuation wardens themselves some of the last people to leave the facility. Another key group of players on the team are people who have been trained to perform special tasks during an emergency. For instance, during a fire, those who know how to use portable fire extinguishers will remain in the area to fight smaller blazes. But if the fires become too big or get out of control, these people will quickly evacuate too. Other people may be assigned to shut down processes or any equipment that could be damaged, or that might create additional hazards if they are left in operation. Some team members may be designated to shut off gas, electricity, and other utilities as well. These stay-behind personnel will have the knowledge and training to perform their tasks and then get out safely. They will also have learned to recognize if it's become too dangerous to stay in place and they need to abandon their tasks and leave the area. So where do you fit in? What place do you have on the team? You could choose to participate in one of the roles we've just discussed. If you're interested, talk to your supervisor about how to get involved. But you can also play an important role as an evacuee, because evacuees are responsible for carrying out evacuation procedures properly. Ultimately, evacuees are what make evacuations work. It's important not to leave your evacuation homework until the last minute. You need to prepare for an evacuation before it actually occurs. Emergencies are serious business, and you need to know how your facility's evacuation procedures are set up well in advance. Start by equipping yourself with specific knowledge about what people in your work area should do in an emergency, particularly how to get yourself away from the site or out of the building under different conditions. Fortunately, that information isn't hard to find. Your evacuation plan contains everything you need to know, and it's available to everyone. It will tell you the conditions that would require your worksite to be evacuated, the procedures involved in an evacuation, important names and contact numbers, and more. Do you know how to activate an emergency alarm on your worksite? You can learn by talking to your supervisor or foreman. They can also show you the evacuation routes that should be used from each work area. But just knowing the best way out of your work area isn't always enough. Emergencies can occur in unanticipated places, so you should know at least 2 routes out of every location you work in. That alternate way out could be crucial to your leaving an area safely. What should you do if you have to evacuate in the dark or in thick smoke? The conditions that may exist in an emergency can often make it difficult to see. So you need to take time beforehand to identify landmarks between your workstation and each of your exit points. You also need to know where you should go once you get out of the building. Your evacuation plan specifies a safe location called the assembly point or marshalling area, where employees from your work area should gather. Make sure you know where it is and how to get to it. By the way, if an alarm went off right now, would you recognize it? Do you know what it sounds like and what it indicates? Acting immediately when you hear that sound will save precious time when you need it most. So you need to be familiar with all of the alarms in your facility and what they mean. When you hear an evacuation alarm, you know it's time to move. An emergency is in progress, and the decision has been made to evacuate your worksite. This is the time to put your site's evacuation plan and your own preparation to good use. Look for your supervisor or emergency personnel for information about the situation. Remember your evacuation plan. If it says you should turn off any equipment you are using and close any windows, you should do that first. At that point, you can leave the area. You need to do it quickly and in an orderly fashion. Don't delay to grab things to take with you. Remember, never use an elevator in an emergency. Always take the stairs if you're not on ground level. Walk, don't run. You can set a good example for your coworkers by staying calm. If you see coworkers who seem upset or unsure of what to do, encourage them to come along and follow you away from the area. Assist anyone who is in immediate danger, but not if it puts you at risk. In risky situations, that's the job of emergency response personnel. If someone is not accounted for, you may be asked where you last saw them. This information can be critical for emergency responders who are initiating search and rescue operations. So pay attention to what's going on around you as you leave. Once you get outside, move away from the area. Go immediately to your assembly point. As soon as you arrive, you should report yourself present. Some emergencies may require further evacuation to an off-site location. In these cases, transportation will be provided by your company or civil authorities. You should never re-enter a building until you've been told that it's safe to go back inside. If the situation is serious enough, you may simply be advised to go home. Why is an evacuation from a high-rise building different? Because moving all the construction workers of a multi-story building all the way to ground level and out of the building may not be safe, practical, or even necessary. Completely clearing a high-rise could mean hundreds of workers walking down endless flights of stairs. That alone puts a massive physical strain on evacuees, and the process could take hours. So, safety engineers came up with a better alternative, one that focuses on the areas that are immediately surrounding the emergency. For example, if a fire is discovered on a building's 15th floor, instead of evacuating the entire building, safety and emergency personnel focus their response on the floor where the emergency is located, plus the floors immediately above and below it. In this case, floors 14 and 16. Instructions are given directly to the workers on the affected floors through bullhorns or their telephones. People are directed to proceed to an assembly point several floors below. For these building occupants, the evacuation proceeds very much like any other. Evacuation wardens help them leave the affected floors. Some employees may remain to perform special duties. Evacuees proceed down the exit stairs to their assembly point on the lower floor. Depending on the type of emergency and how it progresses, safety personnel and emergency responders will decide what the next steps should be. Evacuated personnel may be asked to remain where they are, return to their own floors, or evacuate to street level. People on other floors will be alerted, but not involved in the evacuation directly. If your job is located in a multi-story building, your evacuation team will have worked with the building's management, contractors, and the fire department to develop a coordinated evacuation plan based on this model. Your job is to prepare for the unexpected now by familiarizing yourself with the plan. Every year, nearly 100,000 workplace fires occur in all types of environments. Evacuating safely from a burning worksite requires some special procedures to protect you from the fire and to prevent the fire from spreading. For example, if you're leaving a building during a fire emergency, you need to feel any door you are going to go through before opening it. If a door feels hot, it's very likely that there's fire on the other side, and you shouldn't open it. You'll need to use an alternate exit route instead. You should close doors behind you as you evacuate as well, to delay the spread of smoke and fire. If you do have to go through smoke or flame, stay low. Since heat rises, this will keep you where the air is cleaner and cooler. Walk on your hands and knees if necessary. Do not use elevators. Go directly to the nearest stairwell. If possible, use one that's not involved in the blaze. But if you find that the only available exit route contains fire or smoke, remember to stay low. Sometimes fires are caused by explosions, and sometimes they cause explosions. The important thing to remember is that explosions can damage buildings and make them dangerously unstable. That means as you evacuate, you should avoid windows and other things that could shatter or fall on you. If debris does start to come down around you, take shelter under a sturdy table or desk. Don't attempt to rescue other people who may be trapped. You need to leave that to emergency responders with the right training and equipment. But you should give them information about anyone you know who is still in the building immediately. If you can, make your way out of the building and go to your assigned assembly point. If your construction project is using hazardous materials, in addition to all of the normal problems that occur during an emergency, your job site could become contaminated. In that case, your evacuation plan should include procedures for dealing with the hazardous substances that are on site. So it's important to find out more about these materials for yourself ahead of time. You can learn about their potential hazards and the precautions they require if you are exposed to them by consulting their safety data sheets. Even if your own project has nothing to do with hazmats, external sources of contamination, such as an accident at a nearby chemical plant or an overturned tanker truck on the highway, can still put you at risk. So your evacuation plan needs to take these situations into account as well. If you are a part of an emergency response team, you should proceed according to your instructions. Otherwise, if you need to evacuate, you should leave your work area immediately. Head for the assembly point that has been specified for the situation you're dealing with. It should be upstream, upwind, or crosswind from the contamination source. Stay away from any unfamiliar liquid or solid substances. Avoid breathing in any smoke, fumes, gases, or vapors. If you encounter anyone who appears confused or incapacitated, assist them if you can. They may be feeling the effects of contamination themselves. When you get to the assembly point, report for roll call. Let them know if you think you've been exposed to any contaminants, even if you don't feel anything wrong. Physical symptoms don't always appear immediately, and prompt treatment is crucial. Some substances, such as crude oil, gasoline, and natural gas, are not only hazardous because exposure to them can affect your health, but the materials themselves, or even just their fumes, could explode if they're ignited by a flame or spark. If you have to evacuate because of a spill or leak of these types of materials, be extremely careful. You don't want to light up a cigarette or use your cell phone until you get official word that it's safe. Active shooter incidents are a relatively new situation that companies have to address in their evacuation plans. Sometimes these situations can be tied to a specific company or facility. Other times they appear to be completely random. The one constant about active shooter attacks is that they are unpredictable, which means that a facility and the people in it must be prepared to protect themselves at all times. As with terrorist attacks, one information regarding what to do if a shooter does appear. So this should be included in your facility's evacuation plan as well. Studies have shown that if a facility is under attack, the best options for survival are run, hide, and fight, in that order, which is why everyone needs to know where their closest exits are. If there is no good way to escape, the next alternative is to hide. It's best to find a room where you can close and lock or barricade the door. You should shut off the lights and turn off any sources of noise, such as a radio or television that would attract a shooter's attention. If closing yourself in a room isn't possible, hiding behind a large piece of equipment or furniture is the next best thing. You should try to find something heavy and solid that looks like it could stop a bullet. If it can be done without the shooter hearing, you should call 911 as soon as possible. The police need to be advised that there is an active shooter situation, where your facility is located and where the shooter appears to be. Then everyone's phones should be put on vibrate or shut off. If running or hiding are not viable options, you should be prepared to fight. People are often reluctant to consider this, but the alternative can be to surrender your life to the shooter. So you need to know some of the basics. The shooter should be attacked with whatever weapons are available: a letter opener, a pipe, even your fists. Blows should be aimed at the shooter's face, eyes, neck, shoulders, and arms. If there are multiple people in the area, everyone should attack the shooter together. Once a shooter is subdued, everyone should run to safety. Information about how employees should relate to the police as they arrive at your facility should be included in your evacuation plan, too. The police will only have sketchy information about the situation, and it will not necessarily be clear to them as to who's who. You should always put your hands in the air, empty, and with your fingers spread when you approach responding officers. The police will want to know as much as people can tell them about the situation, but the conversations will need to be brief. Any questions that they have need to be answered quickly and concisely. Once you have been debriefed, you should move to a safe area and stay out of the police's way. Securing a worksite under emergency conditions is a serious challenge. But as we've seen, planning ahead and knowing what to do during an evacuation will help get you and your coworkers out safely. Let's review. Know who is supposed to do what in an evacuation and where you fit into the picture. Take time in advance to learn at least 2 evacuation routes you can take from your work area. If an evacuation alarm sounds, stay calm. Leave the area and head to your assembly point. In a fire, stay low to avoid heat and smoke. Never open a hot door. If an emergency involves hazardous materials, stay upwind and upstream from them. Emergencies are always unpredictable, but if you prepare for them ahead of time, understand the role you play in an evacuation, and carry it out, you and your coworkers can still go home safe at the end of the day.